The alarm bells blared across HFY Prime, their piercing cry bouncing off the crystalline towers that pierced the violet skies. Council Speaker Zixter hurried down the endless corridor, his 6 legs striking the polished floor with urgent rhythm as he rushed toward the emergency chamber. His normally radiant blue scales had dimmed, betraying the gravity of his worry. In over 3 centuries, the Galactic Council had not convened in such haste. The last time was during the Crathan threat against a defenseless trade colony, but even that now seemed minor. This was something far worse. He entered the vast council hall, already filled with envoys from 47 species. The chamber itself was colossal, its seating arranged to accommodate beings of every imaginable form. Some hovered inside fluid-filled tanks, others clung to the ceiling by their wings, while a few sat encased in armored life support suits. Raising his amplified voice above the hum of nervous chatter, Zixter declared, "We confront a danger, unlike anything in our history. The sensors have detected a presence from the galaxy's outer rim." Military advisor Quindor stepped forward, his armored body casting a heavy shadow under the projection lights. Once enemies of the Council, the Crathans now served as its tactical backbone. The black markings etched into his plates revealed the depth of his unease. His limbs twitched before he spoke in a resonant growl. "The readings are conclusive. Our scientists verified them 3 times. The object is a vessel, over 12 kilometers long. Its energy signature surpasses that of our combined fleets." The chamber erupted with gasps and fearful displays. The Alteran envoy pulsed in flickers of pale light, the Vexani rattled their mandibles, and even the bold Tauran shifted uneasily. Delegate Morton of the Centauri Federation demanded, "How is such a construct even possible? Our largest ships barely stretch a single kilometer." Quindor activated the central display. The reconstructed image appeared, and silence consumed the hall. Sleek, predatory lines cloaked in weapon ports and layered armor. It was the image of nightmares given form. "Our records list its origin as a system we once charted as barren," Quindor explained grimly. "Clearly we were mistaken. This is no exploration vessel. It is a fortress of war, designed for annihilation." Elder Kefta, ancient among the Wisdom Keepers, drifted forward in her energy cradle. Her frail voice wavered, but carried the weight of centuries. "I know these tales," she whispered. "Legends of world eaters, star killers, ships that shattered planets and burned systems. We dismissed them as myth. Perhaps we were wrong." The Nexari Prime Minister, his tentacles writhing in alarm, asked, "What of the species dwelling there? Do we know anything?" Science Coordinator Velex studied her glowing screen with her multifaceted eyes. Almost nothing. The system appeared mundane, with lifeless rocks and only traces of primitive biology. They concealed themselves well. "Refugees, perhaps?" offered the Alteran, colors flickering in hopeful tones. "A vessel built to save their people?" Quindor shook his head firmly. "No refugee ship mounts this many weapon batteries. Make no mistake, this is the most formidable warship the galaxy has ever witnessed." The council erupted into chaotic arguments. Translators strained to weave hundreds of alien voices into common speech, but the single emotion they conveyed was unmistakable. Fear. "What are our choices?" Zixter thundered above the din. "Negotiation," suggested a diplomat. "Send. Tributes plead surrender before they arrive." "Surrender to what?" a Crathan warlord snarled. "We don't even know their intent. Slavery? Harvesting our worlds? Extinction?" "Can we fight them?" another delegate asked desperately. Quindor studied his tactical chart again, his voice heavy. "Our combined strength numbers nearly 10,000 ships. Against this, they would be obliterated. Its shields alone outmatch most of our capital fleets." Elder Kefta sighed. "Then we retreat. Evacuate the paths in its wake and pray it passes us by." "Retreat where?" the Nexari Prime Minister cried. If they can forge one such monstrosity, they can build more. There will be no sanctuary. A dreadful truth silenced the chamber. For millennia, the Council's power rested upon diplomacy and science, not war. None had dreamed an enemy could wield such dominance. How long until it reaches our space? Zixther asked softly. At current velocity, 72 standard hours, Quindor answered. A voice trembled through the hall. Its course leads toward Kepler 442, an inhabited Nexari world. The Nexari leader stood rigid, fur bristling with despair. My people, what will become of them? No answer came. Only silence, as every gaze returned to the projected vessel, a human warship bearing with it the destiny of the galaxy. On the bridge of the EUS Goliath, Captain Jake Morrison stood gripping the steel rail, gazing out through the Titanic viewing pane. The command deck stretched 100 meters wide, alive with motion. Crew members bent over consoles glowing with shifting lights. The steady hum of the engines resonated through the deck plates. All systems stable, Captain, reported Chief. Engineer Lisa Carter. Her voice rang out from the aft stations. Fusion reactors optimal, jump drive primed. Jake turned toward the forward screen, spanning nearly the entire wall. Beyond the darkness of space glittered distant starlight, and the fragile curve of Earth itself, a small blue jewel suspended in the void. The Goliath was humanity's greatest creation, a vessel stretching 12 kilometers, clad in gray alloy, and bristling with weapons, sensors, and docking ports. Inside its armored hull thrived a city of 50,000 souls. At the comms station, Rodriguez adjusted his headset amid an array of flickering displays. Jake approached. Word from Earth. Command? Admiral Brooks is awaiting your signal, Rodriguez replied steadily. Jake swept his eyes across the bridge once more. His crew, hardened veterans from Earth's colonies, fleets, and defense forces, stood ready. They had trained relentlessly for 2 years, chosen as humanity's finest. Now the moment had come. Put the Admiral on the main display, Jake ordered. The starfield vanished, replaced by Admiral Helen Brooks' face. Seated in Earth Command, her silver hair was drawn tightly back, her decorated blue uniform shining with decades of service. Behind her, officers moved swiftly across a busy command center, all eyes locked on the Goliath's maiden voyage. Captain Morrison, she greeted, her voice firm yet reassuring. How does it feel to command humanity's greatest creation? Jake allowed himself a brief smile. It feels like a burden of responsibility, Admiral. This ship could take on an entire alien armada if needed. I just hope it never comes to that. That's why she exists, Brooks replied. We don't know what waits in the galaxy. There may be civilizations with weapons beyond our comprehension. The Goliath ensures humanity stands a chance. Every inch of the vessel had been engineered for survival against the unknown. Its cannons could pulverize mountains. Its shields could withstand nuclear fire. Its armor was thicker than anything ever built. Military planners had even drawn inspiration from old science fiction, imagining every conceivable threat humanity might face beyond the stars. Science Officer Phillips, status of our destination, Jake called. Ryan Phillips, surrounded by charts, graphs, and sensor feeds, responded at once. Kepler 442 lies 37 light-years away. 6 months ago, our long-range sensors detected artificial signals from the system, consistent with advanced technology, possibly multiple civilizations. Jake's pulse quickened. After centuries of silence, humanity had its proof. The signals bore unmistakable structure, patterns only intelligence could produce. At last, first contact was imminent. Navigator Chen, plot our course, Jake ordered. Amy Chen's hands flew over her console. Trajectory calculated, Captain. Estimated travel time, 6 hours with the new hyperspace drive. Dr. Turner, is your team prepared for contact? Dr. Ben Turner, Chief of Xenobiology, nodded with anticipation. We've prepared for every outcome, Captain. Translators, biological filters, diplomatic frameworks, all systems ready. We're as equipped as anyone can be for meeting alien life. Jake returned to his command chair at the heart of the bridge. He had dreamed of this moment since childhood, and yet the weight of it pressed on his shoulders. The Goliath wasn't just a warship. It was Earth's emissary to the galaxy. "Attention, crew! Prepare for jump!" Jake's voice carried through every corridor of the vast vessel. Across the ship, 50,000 men and women halted their work, strapping in as alarms signaled. The leap to hyperspace. "Admiral Brooks, we are set for departure," Jake reported. "Then good luck, Captain," Brooks said warmly. "Bring us back allies." The screen reverted to the star field. The engines built a bone-deep vibration as the jump core reached peak output. "Jump drive at maximum charge," reported Lisa. "Carter, system stable." "Take us to the stars," Jake commanded. The Goliath lunged forward, vanishing in a burst of blue light. Earth spun silently behind, watching its greatest vessel declare humanity's presence to the galaxy. Across deep space, alien sensors trembled at the sudden surge of exotic energy. Dozens of civilizations detected the flare, whispering in awe and dread. Humanity was on its way. Moments later, a flash of blue ignited at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. The Goliath emerged, artificial gravity steadying her crew. The 6-hour journey had felt like only minutes. "Jump complete, Navigator," Chen announced. "All systems normal. We've arrived at Kepler 442. The forward display filled with brilliance, a yellow sun orbited by worlds of breathtaking variety. 2 planets glimmered blue and green, oceans and forests clearly visible. Moons spun in stately arcs. Metallic gleams hinted at stations and satellites. "Science Officer Phillips, report," Jake said as he approached the data consoles. Phillips' eyes widened at the readings. "Captain, it's astonishing. At least 12 distinct civilizations in this one system. 3 planets host sprawling cities. 2 have orbital stations. Multiple moons are being mined. The scale of cooperation is unlike anything in our solar system." Jake blinked in disbelief. 12 civilizations, working together in a single star system? Phillips nodded, his voice rising with wonder. "And Captain, that's only the beginning. Their technology is..." "The readings show remarkable advancement," Phillips continued, awe in his voice. "I'm detecting fusion reactors, artificial gravity fields, and even faster-than-light communication arrays. Whoever they are, they've been spacefaring for a very long time." Lieutenant Kate Sullivan glanced up from her console, brows furrowed. "Captain, something's off. I'm not hearing any transmissions. With 12 civilizations, the airwaves should be bursting with chatter, but it's silent." Jake's frown deepened. He remembered Earth's early days with radio, when the sky buzzed with television, satellites, and endless signals. A system this advanced should be deafening with noise. "Maybe they use a communication method we don't recognize," Dr. Turner suggested from his station. "Or maybe," Jake replied quietly, "they know we've arrived, and they're deliberately silent." "Navigator Chen," he ordered, "take us toward the most populated world. Let's see if they notice." The Goliath shifted course, its titanic mass blotting out smaller moons as it pressed deeper into the system. Scanners painted a clearer image with every passing moment. "Captain," said Chris Morgan from engineering, "the AI is flagging anomalies. Thousands of vessels scattered across the system, but every one of them is powered down. No engines, no weapons, no life support." Jake arched a brow. "All of them?" "Yes, sir. Over 5,000 ships, all shut down simultaneously." "That makes no sense," Turner muttered. "Why disable an entire fleet at once?" The Goliath pressed closer to the primary planet, a jewel of sprawling continents and glittering cities, whose lights shone like constellations on the surface below. "Distance?" Jake asked. 50,000 kilometers and closing," reported Chen. "Their sensors must see us by now." Still no response. Kate Sullivan added tensely, I've broadcast on every band we know, math patterns, prime sequences, even pictographs. Nothing. Unease gnawed at Jake. In every story, first contact meant either dialogue or open hostility. This silence was worse. Perhaps we should alter our approach, suggested Nicole Parker, the diplomatic attaché who had been observing quietly. Send a small craft. One shuttle might look less threatening than this giant warship. Good thinking, Jake agreed. Commander Johnson, prep a diplomatic shuttle. Ambassador Stone goes with you. Use every peaceful signal we've got, Commander. Steve Johnson nodded sharply and departed for the launch bay. Ambassador Rachel Stone followed, her case of protocols and materials in hand. They had trained endlessly for this day, humans playing aliens in mock negotiations, yet nothing could have prepared them for the reality of towering over an alien homeworld. From orbit, the Goliath's bulk cast a vast shadow over the planet, dimming entire mountain ranges beneath it. "Shuttle bay ready," the calm voice of the ship's AI, Samantha Hayes, reported. "Launch when ready," Jake ordered. A hangar door slid open, releasing the tiny vessel into the void. Against the Goliath's enormity, the shuttle looked like a firefly leaving a leviathan. Its engines flared softly as it descended toward atmosphere. "Captain!" Phillips suddenly shouted. "Massive power surges across the surface. Emergency systems activating worldwide." Jake's stomach tightened. "Emergency systems?" "Defensive grids, shield generators, underground bunkers, and total communication blackout," Phillips rattled off. "Sir, they're preparing for war." Jake stared at the screen. The shuttle, humanity's hopeful emissary, drifted closer to the alien world below. He had come seeking allies, yet the inhabitants clearly saw him as an invader. "This isn't how it was supposed to go," he muttered under his breath, desperate for a way to prove humanity's peaceful intent. Deep beneath Nex Prime's capital, Prime Minister Veltar trembled in the fortified command chamber. His forelegs quivered as he gazed at the projection of the colossal vessel hanging over his world. The bunker, built centuries ago for wars long past, had never been tested against such a threat. "How many citizens are in the shelters?" he asked his coordinator. 85%, Prime Minister," came the reply. Commander Zephanak's uniform clung to him, damp with sweat from the chaos of evacuations. "We don't have enough supplies. Our people will starve within days." Prime Minister Beltar's gaze locked on the display, where the alien ship loomed above. It was so immense it looked like a second moon, its dark hull bristling with hundreds of weapon ports, each one able to erase entire cities. "Any news from the other colonies?" Veltar asked. "The Altarians abandoned their sky cities and fled into the oceans," Zephan answered. "The Vexani sealed their hive cities and cut all contact. The mining outposts are pretending to be lifeless rocks. As for the Galactic Council, they're only watching. They've made it clear no help will come. That thing is beyond the reach of all our fleets." Beltar shut his eyes, forcing his breath to steady. His people had known peace for 1,000 years. They were sculptors, singers, dreamers, not warriors. Their vessels carried trade and travelers, not weapons against monsters from the abyss. "Prime Minister," cried Censor Officer Lixara. "The alien craft. It's opening some kind of bay." All eyes fixed on the screen. A hatch yawned wide, and from its depths a tiny speck emerged, growing larger as it drifted toward the planet. "An attack craft," Zephanik muttered, "testing our defenses before the slaughter." "No," Lixara countered, squinting at her readings. "It's too small for a fighter, and its trajectory isn't aggressive. It's moving slowly, cautiously." Beltar followed its descent into the atmosphere. Compared to the mothership, it was a mote of dust, but even a small vessel might carry the power to erase their capital. "Perhaps a scout," another officer suggested. "Or a weapon," Zephanik said darkly. "A bomb for our skies, or a plague for our people." Above ground, millions of Nexari crammed into bunkers and shelters. Parents clutched their children, whispering half-forgotten prayers. Elders recalled stories of ancient wars, but nothing in living memory could match this terror. Meanwhile, Commander Steve Johnson guided his shuttle down through the cloud tops, marveling at the jewel-blue and emerald world beneath. Cities gleamed like constellations on the surface. But something was wrong. The skies were empty, the roads barren, the harbors still. "Ambassador Stone, do you see this?" Steve asked. Rachel Stone peered from her window. "It's like the planet's been abandoned. Where are the people?" "Maybe they're indoors," Steve suggested. "Different species, different rhythms. Could be a rest cycle." Back aboard the Goliath, Captain Morrison was growing impatient. Tech Officer Chris Morgan had been amplifying transmissions, boosting signals to maximum power. "Again," Morrison ordered. "Maybe their comms run on frequencies we haven't tried." Chris pushed the systems, broadcasting peaceful greetings. On every channel, the Goliath's vast arrays flared, saturating space with energy. On the surface, every device within 1,000 kilometers went dead. Screens went black, networks collapsed, even door locks failed. The alien signal had drowned their entire grid. In the command center, lights vanished. Backup power flickered on, but half their systems stayed dead. "They're jamming us," Zephanex whispered, horrified. "This is the prelude to war." "Did you feel that surge?" Liaxara's voice shook. "Their comms alone erased our technology. They're proving they could destroy us with ease." Veltar sagged in his chair, crushed beneath the weight of a civilization. If their machines could do this by accident, what power would they unleash on purpose? Above, the human shuttle continued its calm descent. Steve chose a plaza near the largest city as a landing site. He had no idea millions cowered below, convinced this was invasion's first step. "Landing site secured," he radioed. "No hostile activity. Preparing for first contact." The shuttle touched gently down. Steve and Rachel donned environment suits, ready to step onto alien soil for the first time in humanity's history. They couldn't know that terrified eyes tracked their every movement, convinced the end had come. Rachel stepped onto the stone plaza. Her boots clicked softly in the silence. The city rose around her, breathtaking, spires twisting skyward like frozen waterfalls, surfaces shimmering with shifting patterns, yet not a soul stirred. "Commander, this feels wrong," she said quietly. "No traffic, no sound. It's as if the city itself is holding its breath." Steve checked his scanner inside the shuttle. "Millions of life signs, Ambassador, all underground. Every single one." Rachel walked toward a graceful building, its curves welcoming, its colors calm. But the doors were sealed and windows dark. Far below, Prime Minister Veltar stared at the surviving cameras. The alien was smaller than he expected, walking on two legs, sealed in strange armor, exploring their city. "Commander Zephanek," he whispered. "Maybe it's mapping weak points," Zephanek muttered. "Or trying to study our systems before striking." "Wait," Liaxara said, leaning closer to her console. "I'm seeing something odd in its readings. That's not armor at all. It's an environmental suit." "Environmental suit?" Veltar asked, startled. "Yes, sir. Its atmosphere isn't the same as ours. And look at the way it moves. Slow, careful, almost anxious. This doesn't look like a conqueror striding in with confidence." On the surface, Rachel had discovered what resembled a public terminal embedded in the wall of a government structure. The writing on it was alien, but its form suggested some kind of information kiosk. "Steve, I'm going to give this a try," she said. She connected her translation module, preloaded with universal math, patterns and pictograms that any advanced intelligence should grasp, to the alien console. The device began sending prime numbers, simple equations, and geometric forms. the timeless scientific handshake humanity had always hoped to use in first contact. Deep underground, alarms shrieked the moment the terminal linked to their network. "It's breaching our systems," Stefanik barked. "They're trying to seize control of our infrastructure." But Lixara waved him off, eyes wide with realization. "No, look, this isn't hostile code. These are math sequences, prime numbers, shapes. Exactly what our own scholars said we should transmit if we ever found extraterrestrials." Beltar stared at the data scrolling across his monitor. It was undeniable. This was intelligence reaching out. "You're saying?" he whispered. "Yes, sir," Lixara said firmly. "It's communication. And here, see this section? Symbols that appear to represent the being itself. I believe it's trying to introduce itself." Meanwhile, aboard the Goliath, Captain Morrison paced. "Any word from Ambassador Stone?" he asked. Lieutenant Kate shook her head. "She's been attempting contact for over an hour, Captain. Still nothing from their leadership." Dr. Turner offered a suggestion. "Why not send a direct message? Something simple. Who we are, why we've come." Jake nodded immediately. "Do it. Tell them we're from Earth. Peaceful, only seeking friendship." The Goliath's vast transmitters roared to life, sending out mathematical codes, pictographs, and a message of peace. Diagrams of the solar system, Earth marked clearly, sketches of humans, and symbols for harmony and goodwill. On Nex Prime, the signal flooded every surviving network. Beltar watched, spellbound, as images appeared. A yellow star with 9 orbiting worlds, one ocean-blue planet. Then the beings themselves, bipedal, smooth-skinned, small-eyed, just like the figure wandering their capital. Most striking of all were the unmistakable signs of peace. Open hands, music, flowers, equations that spoke of creation, not destruction. "They aren't here to conquer," Beltar breathed. "They're explorers." But Stefanik objected bitterly. "Look at their ship's scale. No peaceful race builds something so massive." Lixara cut in with new findings. "Actually, Commander, I think I understand. Their star system, it's empty. Just one planet, one people. When they left their world, they had no idea what awaited them. They built that Leviathan because they were afraid." Veltar frowned. "Afraid?" "Yes," Lixara nodded. "They didn't know if they'd find merchants like us or predators or something worse, so they designed for the worst-case scenario. That ship isn't conquest. It's caution." The realization struck Beltar like a blow. The humans hadn't forged a warship out of hunger for power. They had overbuilt it out of terror, preparing for dangers that might never come. "Open a channel," Veltar ordered. "We must answer them." On the plaza above, Rachel nearly stumbled back as the console lit up with color and sound. A resonant alien voice filled her earpiece, and then her translator stammered into English. "Greetings, human traveler. We are the Nexi. Welcome to our world. Forgive our hiding. We thought you meant to conquer, not to befriend." Rachel's eyes blurred with tears inside her visor. After millennia of wondering if humanity was alone, she was hearing the words of another people. "Greetings, Nexi," she replied, her voice trembling. "We are humans, from Earth. We come in peace, and we are honored to meet you." Far above, Captain Morrison received the confirmation. Contact had been made, and it was peaceful. The warship they feared had delivered not soldiers, but friends. As the message spread through the Galactic Council, countless civilizations reconsidered their fear of humanity. Perhaps these careful newcomers, with their fortress ship, born of caution, might be the allies every world wished for in a perilous galaxy. The Goliath had set out simply to explore. By accident, it had just established humanity as the galaxy's greatest shield.